Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 0. United have dribbled to the end of another season with a goal difference of 0. Europa League confirmed due to the fact that not even West Ham could put us out of our misery and put us in the Europa Conference League. Sorry, we sat here for most of that game, as I'm sure most Manchester United fans did today, paying more attention to what City and Liverpool were doing than what our own club was doing. And what we were doing is another shambolic performance away at Selhurst Park. What are your thoughts, Jay?
I almost forgot about the game.
Yeah.
The United game. Honestly, it almost seemed to become that irrelevant. I know it wasn't irrelevant because obviously it mattered towards getting Europa League football, but I was so sort of caught up in the whole, God, can't be having the Scousers winning the league and obviously having a chance at winning the treble, even if it is City stopping him. So, yeah, I was all caught up in that. We had the United game on. From what I watched of it, I didn't watch it all because I was watching other games as well. But every time I was watching it, it just sums up United under Rangnick, really. I mean, you can argue for a large part of it under Ollie as well. Just not the races, nothing about it. Losing second best all over the pitch, losing individual battles, and just no sort of coherence to the football as well. It just looked completely disjointed. And Palace are a good team. Let's not kid ourselves, they've done well this season, but they're not world beaters.
No.
And now it's almost a given that we lose to these teams.
Yeah.
You look at it, you get absolutely.
They've had, sorry to
go on, no, go on.
They've had a good season by their standards. They're 12th.
The 12th.
They're not. It's not like Palace have. Oh, haven't they been good? They finished 4th.
Yeah.
Palace have still finished 12th. They're still lower than us.
Yeah.
They're still worse than us.
Just looking at that table there, that little sort of mid-table section there.
Yeah.
We look at Leicester, Brighton, Wolves. They've all beaten us this season, haven't they? At one point or another. Palace have beaten us, are there a couple of places down. I mean, you were saying, I think, before the game, as only as it Leeds and Norwich, we've done the double over this season.
Yeah.
We're finishing on in
the bottom half.
In the bottom half, sorry. Yeah. In the bottom, well, have we done it over anyone in the top half?
Did we beat West Ham twice?
Sorry, yeah, I think we did, didn't we? Did we? I can't remember. Well, I know the not start the Carabao Cup, but in the league, I think you're right. Yeah, we did. But yeah, it's just, you look at it and you go, what is happening here? How has United gone from finishing second, buying a load of players, including Varane, Sancho and Ronnie, and finishing on 0 goal difference, getting beat off everyone and scraping, like you just said, dribbling towards 6th?
Can I just...
I feel sorry for Ten Hag, man. I really do.
Me too. Can I just alert you to something? We'll talk about Ten Hag in a minute.
Yeah.
Just alert you to something. Manchester United have conceded 57 goals this season.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's, twice as many as City and Liverpool have conceded, more than Chelsea, more than Tottenham, whatever, of course. It's also more than Wolves, it's more than Palace, it's more than Brentford, it's more than Villa, it's more than Burnley, who have just been fucking relegated, Jay. We've conceded 4 more goals than they have this season. Like, it's horrendous. I mean, obviously, we've scored more goals than a lot of those teams because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. We've scored 57. But we're conceding more goals than Burnley, and they've just been relegated. That is disgraceful, isn't it? That's absolutely awful.
I think you were saying it during the watch along as well. If you can't get up for the new managers there watching, if you're a player and you think, I've got to impress this new manager who's coming in, this is going to be his first impression of me, you got to show him something, so that, well, you know what, we might have struggled this season, he's going to know that, but I'm going to show him that it wasn't because of me and that I'm one of the players that he can rely on. And no one really did that today, did they? No. Do you know what I mean? There's some players this season that I think have been worse than others. Like Fred, for example, hasn't been terrible this season. I think he's had quite a few good games, and I think in the grand scheme of things, he's probably been one of our better players. Sorry. Yeah. But you look at Ilanga's a kid. He shouldn't have played that many games. You can't really be blaming a 20-year-old who's just turned 20 for the fact that he's played, sort of 20 games or 20 odd games this season and has stopped scoring about 14 games ago. So those types of players go, okay, it's not as bad. But a lot of these players, established players who've been around for years, just not good enough. Just not good enough at all. And you can't keep saying it's form, because it becomes longer than form eventually. It becomes the levels aren't there. Yeah. So I feel for Erik ten Hag, I think he's got a lot to do. But the trouble is, you can only make 3 or 4 signings. It's not like he can, or maybe 5. It's not like he can go out and buy 12 players this summer.
No. So
this idea, because I know I've seen it on Twitter and other places, a lot of people say just get rid of them all. Seriously, sell them all. I don't understand that sentiment because I'm almost the same opinion. But he can't do that. No. He has to work with at least 7 or 8 of these players next season as first teamers. And I just wonder who those players are going to be, because at the minute, all of them look terrible.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Bruno today, I think it was giving the ball away that led to their goal, just swinging his leg through it aimlessly, giving the ball away, and then defensively we weren't good enough either. But just like, where is the control? Where is the intelligence to your play when you just the ball's in the air? I'm just going to spin around and boot it as hard as I can. Oh, it's gone to them. Oh, they've scored. Oh, come on, let's go again. Well, no, don't go. Let's go again. Fucking do it right the first time, because you're not at a point. You're not at a club where, or in a league where you can just do it again. No, come on, now we'll start. Starting from now, we'll actually try hard. We'll actually do the right thing. You're in the top league in the world.
Yeah.
When you don't do the right thing first time, you finish 6th. You can have a league that's a team that's capable of finishing 2nd, which we obviously know this team is. You can bring in Ronaldo, you can bring in Sancho and Varane, and if you think that you can just get it right the 2nd or the 3rd time, you finish 6th. And there's too much mentality of, right, that's gone wrong, but starting from now we'll be all right. No, we've just scraped the Europa League football there. If West Ham had anything about them, they would have won that game today against Brighton. I know, obviously Brighton are a decent team, but if it weren't for that, we'd be in the Europa Conference now, behind West Ham, behind David Moyes. The ultimate irony that David Moyes gets sacked from Manchester United for finishing 6th, and then he goes somewhere else and makes us finish 7th on the last day.
This has been the story of our season. The only thing that stopped it being a complete and utter, as bad as it could be, disaster, is other teams flopping a bit.
Yeah.
Like Liverpool not winning the league has made it a little bit less.
There's a storyline that takes some negativity away from us, or embarrassment.
Yeah. Like us, basically, we've been awful for months, but Arsenal are awful as well. So it's kind of like, oh, well, they're in the Europa as well, which is kind of funny because they actually believe that they turned the corner with their manager.
Yeah, and they haven't had any form of European football to be distracted by this season.
It's like, this is what even like in the Champions League, when City get knocked out of the Champions League, we're rejoicing because Real Madrid have knocked City out. But it's also that it should be in the Champions League, knocking City and Liverpool out. I know we're miles away from that now, but that's where you want to be. You want to be Manchester United, beating teams, beating our rivals, winning trophies, giving us something to shout about. The only thing I've got to shout about this season is how some of my rivals haven't done as well as they wanted.
Yeah.
How City haven't won a Champions League. How Liverpool haven't won the league.
How Liverpool will probably only win 3 trophies this year, not the 4 that they wanted.
How City are only winning their 3rd title or 4th title in 5 years, whatever it is. Yeah. This is where we're at. And it's painful. It's painful for any football fan to see the rivals succeeding, especially when you're a Manchester United fan like us, who were spoiled under Sir Alex Ferguson, who did see us win untold trophies and constant titles. And Erik ten Hag, I don't envy the guy at all. He's coming into a situation where you have got, for me, the worst Manchester United squad I can remember. Yeah. I'm not old enough to really properly remember the one just before Fergie came in. Even though I'd still argue you still had some class players in like Paul McGrath and Brian Robson, of course. Yeah. But I'm not old enough to properly remember it. But in my lifetime, from watching football, this is as bad as we've been squad-wise. Mm-hmm. And it seems mad to say that when you've got players like Varane and Ronnie. But we are. Yeah, we're awful.
Just on that, statistically, Laurie Whitwell tweeting, finished on 58 points, which is our worst in a Premier League season. Previous low was 64 in 2013-14. So substantially worse than that. 6 points worse than that. A goal difference of 0, the first time we haven't had a positive goal difference since 1990. Conceded 57, which is the most in a Premier League campaign. And all for the budget price of £1.17 billion, which is what we spent since 2013.
That is a disgrace.
Yeah.
Edward has got to take a lot of responsibility for that. No, he won't. But we have... Yes, the Glazers have bled this club dry, and yes, we should have had more investment in certain transfer windows, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we've also wasted money. We have wasted money on transfers. You're now in a situation where it's quite feasible that Erik ten Hag could come in and go, I don't fancy Maguire, I don't fancy Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I don't fancy Luke Shaw, I don't fancy Fred. That's like 250 million quid's worth of players that we've bought. And you ain't going to get anywhere near that amount of money for all them lot. No. I'm not saying he will. There's a good chance he won't. He'll stick with them all.
But you wouldn't begrudge him or blame him or be stunned if he said, "I don't think these 5 are good enough."
No.
Maybe Fred, you go, well, give him a chance.
And I know that might sound a contradiction because Fred's had a decent season. My point is, he might not. He's not like he's elite.
Let's be honest. We've seen enough games of Fred to know he's not Casemiro.
No, he's not. And he's probably going to be in the squad if we get a DM.
He's not Thiago, is he?
Another midfielder. No, and it's like, you're losing. I know Pogba's got his issues and everything, but you're losing a talented player in Pogba. You're gonna have to replace him. Yeah. You are gonna have to replace him because he's someone that, by and large, played every game when he was fit. For the last sort of 5 or 6 years. So you've got to replace him. You're losing Cavani. You're losing, I think, Juanmata and Lingard as well. Okay, a lot of them are more fringe. We don't know what's going to happen. Mason Greenwood's a good chance he never plays for Manchester United again. Mm-hmm. So you've got all these players you've already got to kind of replace in your squad anyway. Then you've got to look at your first team and go, actually, is he good enough? Is he good enough? Is he good enough? Our fullback situation is abysmal.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's a bit of a joke, to be honest, isn't it? Especially when you look at the fact that for 6 years or so, it's slowly been becoming, for a decade it's been becoming the case, but for the last 5 or 6 years it's been pretty apparent that the fullbacks are two of the most, if not the most important roles in a team. All of the top teams have not got just decent fullbacks. They've got some of the best fullbacks in the world. Yeah. Top modern football relies on fullbacks in a way it never has in a way I've never seen it do in my lifetime. It is so important to have top fullbacks like Walker, Cancelo, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, even Chelsea, James.
I would say I agree with some of what you're saying, but I would say for me, the 2 best United teams, probably the 3 best United teams I've ever seen, all had what I would consider elite level fullbacks.
Yeah.
Dennis Irwin, Gary Neville, elite. Patrice Evra, Wes Brown during that 2008
But they weren't
season.
relied upon to get 12 assists.
No, they weren't. You're right. But the point is, you're right on all that.
Yeah.
But we've still, when we've had success, had amazing fullback, and now we have genuinely got, I think, 4 fullbacks who wouldn't get in any of the top 6 teams.
No.
Any of them. No. I don't think Shaw even, who people go, Shaw, Berto Carlos and everything. When I was watching him this season, he's been bang average at best.
Yeah.
Delo, I like the kid, but he's not.
No.
Tellez, no. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka, his form's fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
And he just looks lost. So, what did Pep do when he came in at City? Replace the fullbacks. He had to because they're aging.
Replaced them again and again and again.
Until he got the ones he wanted. The big signing for them, like someone like Kyle Walker. There was a time when he had Fabian Delph there, wasn't he? And he replaced him.
And then it was Mendy, which, regardless of what's going off the pitch, wasn't getting a game for him because he wasn't good enough. Then they had Danilo, who didn't get a game for him because he wasn't good enough. And they just kept, we need a new one. Okay, Cancelo, okay, it's worked.
Yeah.
And Walker's been pretty consistent on that side, but he still brought him in.
No, you're right. And it's like, you have to be able to do that. If Eric Ten Hag comes in and he buys a couple of fullbacks and they don't work out, is he going to be able to replace him? Or is people going to go, well, he's had his chance at fullbacks now? That's it, that's your lot. Because there's an element of that with Jose, wasn't there, with defenders. When he wanted another defender, people going, well, he's bought Victor Lindelof.
And Eric Bailly.
So why does he need another one?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, he's bought them hoping that something would happen. It hasn't quite worked out. What's he meant to do? Just right, that's it, give up.
And that's the difference, though, isn't it? Because you've made a mistake. Fair enough, you've made a mistake. You can say Eric Bailly didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But so now what my 2 options are, you either say to me, you've made a mistake, you have to live with it and not win trophies, or we go, you made a mistake, for fuck's sake, we're going to have to buy you a new centre-back that isn't a mistake. And instead of doing the second one, they went, shouldn't have made that mistake,
yeah,
should you?
That's
not
what it was.
Trophies now. Whereas City went, you've made a mistake, you've got the wrong fullback in, let's get you another one that's better.
Even the
and hope you don't make a mistake again. And if you do, we'll get you a third one.
Even the goalkeeping situation. When Claudio Bravo comes in, replaces Joe Hart. Don't forget, Joe Hart was 28, I think, when he left. When Pep comes in, a bit of a club legend for them lot. Was part of that league-winning team. People go, okay, or 2 league-winning teams, I should say. So people go, okay, yeah, Joe Hart, he's not one of your issues. Pep's, I need someone who can play better at the back. Brings in Claudio Bravo, the guy who's come from Barcelona, won a lot and all this.
Who Pep knows.
Yeah, is a disaster almost.
Yeah.
And you replace him with Edison, one of the most expensive keepers in the league.
Yeah.
No one questions it. No one goes, no, you had your chance with Bravo, that's your lot. Where at United, it'd be like, well, you bought a keeper, tough.
Yeah, we keep Bravo in until someone better comes along, and it's probably not Edison because who's heard of him. Daniel Kirk said, Danny Welbeck with the winner, have I gone back in time 10 years? Maybe. Tim Sims says, what started with promise from the new transfers ended up with a 5-0 destruction by Liverpool at home. Solskjaer sacked, a downward spiral for the rest of the season. Bring on Ten Hag and give him control. And Nate H says, we need a lot more quality in the first 11. I can't agree with any of that anymore, to be honest, because the quality isn't there, the coaching isn't there, the team buying into the coaching isn't there, maybe more importantly, and it's just not working.
I will say one thing, because I know it's been very negative, this review, and it's easy to be negative because it's been a shambolic season, but we've kind of been here before. and it's not. Sometimes it's not as bad as you think because.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying this.
And at the Burnley game, a few years ago, we lost 2-0 at home to Burnley, and that was probably one of the lowest points I felt as a Manchester United fan. I thought, he's going to get sacked, and I love the guy, even his manager's not worked out. We're terrible. I look at the team and the squad, I don't think it's strong enough.
No.
Bruno comes in. We go on this 21-game unbeaten run. We get third place, which seemed unheard of.
Yeah.
I think we get to the FA Cup semi-final or something as well. And all of a sudden, we're rejuvenated. And the next season, we get second. A couple of players can get you going again. Yeah. A new manager can get you going. And there's still several players we've got who I think are in the maybe column.
Yeah.
Marcus Rashford's not, I'm not done with him completely. No. He's a maybe.
Same.
Maybe he's going to be good, maybe not. If he can, it's a big if, regain his form that we saw a couple of seasons ago, we're laughing. If Harry Maguire can be the player that he has been, it's easy to hate on Maguire, but he was a good player at Leicester. Yeah. That's why we bought him, and he was a good player for us for a season and a half. Then, he's another one who can do a very good job. Bruno's numbers are ridiculous for a reason. He's capable of scoring and assisting. So you've already got some players that go, okay, maybe. Then you add in one or two who have got bright futures ahead of them. Hannibal, for example, we saw a cameo from him. Further down the line, I know it's probably a couple of seasons where he likes of Charlie McNeil and Garnacho and players like
that. James Garner as well.
Obviously. James Garner. Yeah. So you've got some good youngsters there. You've still got Cristiano Ronaldo. Still, you're going to get a tune out of him. You've still got Rafael Varane, who's still a very good defender. Who's just been a little bit unfortunate in the sense of injuries and not having a great DM in front of him. You buy a good DM. You buy one or two other players, and you have a manager with a system that can get the best out of players. This is a guy that turned Dusan Tadic into a world beater. Then it can be rejuvenated. So I don't want to sit here and say this is all over for Manchester United, and we're just going to have to sit here for the next 10 years and watch Liverpool and City exchanging titles. It's possible we can turn this around, and we can do it, with 2 or 3 signings, but it's going to be difficult.
Look at, I know obviously they aren't in a position we want to be in. They're still behind us in the league. But Newcastle, before January, were shit.
Yeah.
No two ways about it. Awful. Underperforming, badly ran, bad manager, not working. They get a few decent players in, they get a new manager. And I think, aren't they the 3rd or 4th best team in the league since January?
Well, you look at the signings.
It doesn't take that much.
The signings they made, very, very astute.
Yeah.
When they brought in the kid from Brighton, is it Dan Burn?
Yeah.
Very good signing that.
Yeah.
A leader at the back. Not the best centre-back. There's probably about 8 other centre-backs who are better than him, if not more, in the Premier League. But for what they needed, a leader who can control that defence and command that defence and who's just, got to give his all. It worked. And who's the midfielder, is it Guimaraes?
Yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes.
Yeah.
Quality. On the ball, just absolute quality.
Player.
And then all of a sudden, your Alan Saint-Maximins and your 1 or 2 other players you've already got start looking better again. Actually, you can get a tune out of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because now you're controlling the games from a midfield, you're keeping the ball, and you allow Saint-Maximin, 20 touches of the ball a game instead of 6.
Yeah.
And now we can do more with it. That's what United need. We need to, make a team that gets the best out of our best players.
Every player that went to Newcastle, a good example, was bought for a reason. Even Chris Wood. Who am I buying Chris Wood? Burnley have just been relegated.
Yeah.
Your job is to get out of relegation, stay out of relegation. He knows that a relegation battle.
Yeah.
He'll get you the odd goal, and also you're weakening a rival. And it might sound like an expensive thing to do for 20 million quid, but it keeps you in the Premier League. It's well worth it, and that's what they've done.
Definitely. Ross Murphy says, just thought I'd say, enjoy your holiday break, guys. Been a dreadful season. Hopefully next season we get new additions and we start to love the team again. That'd be fucking great, wouldn't it? Happy says, it's a season to forget. I want to thank you guys, the staff of the channel, for everything from this season. You guys made it easy to watch. Thank you. Thank you to everyone at home. Obviously, we'll be back tomorrow, so this isn't the end of anything.
Yeah, it'll be me. I'll be on the I'll have your news in the morning, then we'll be on the podcast later.
We're on the podcast going through the game, going through the season. We'll also have Stephen Howson's reaction to this season coming up as well. But Manchester United have finished sixth.
Do you know I've not looked at the table for about 2 months?
Honestly. Incredible 6th in the Premier League, behind Arsenal, behind Tottenham, behind Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City. We'll be in the Europa League next season.
What, though?
It's been an absolute pleasure.
How many Premier League titles have Liverpool won this season?
0.
How many have we won?
0.
Exactly.
How many have we won? How many league titles have Liverpool won in the last decade?
How many have we won?
So, not so bad after all, is it? Yeah, like I said, we're back for the podcast tomorrow, and we'll be here for the news in the morning. The Ten Hag era starts tomorrow. His first press conference coming tomorrow. We'll be giving all the reaction to that.
A bit of a reaction,
just a little bit, mate. Just a little bit of a reaction to Ten Hag's press conference. Thank you very much for joining us. The season is over. Thank F it is. We'll see you in a bit.